Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Shai by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. To the hopeful elect, the scattered Israelites that be unlike to the speckled bird, to the Yakwaf that are listening and learning. To you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago. And this is a video that was put up by Elder Ariala out of Dallas, Elder Twin Fam. And it's the name of the video is a display of Christian cognitive dissonance, all right? And it's on the GMS Dallas in class 3. So you can go and check the video out in its entirety. You know, it's a great video, and this word is being used a lot. And I'm going to show you how the elder's going to do it. This Elder Twin Fam, man, the brother's very is very eloquent in the teaching of the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And I even look at him as one of my teachers. I've learned a lot from him over the years. You know, they were like the trailblazer of the new of the new camps that sprung up under the elders of the Great Millstone. You know, their camp, you know, the Dallas camp was established before the Chicago camp, you know. And I know we came not too long after, but you know, among those first couple of camps that sprung up that started teaching the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai under the guidance of the true leaders of Israel, which are the men of the Great Millstone, started from Apostle Tahal and down to, you know, to all the other apostles and the elders that were under him, down to us. But now, with all that said and done out the way, he's talking about cognitive dissonance, and he's going to give an excellent breakdown of it. So I'm just going to let the video play and maybe bring out a couple scriptures. Then I'm going to show you how Esau is now trying to come out with, he's doing newspeak on the word cognitive dissonance, because we're going to give a clear-cut meaning and understanding of what the word means, what the two words together, they're two separate words, and what they represent. And then you're going to see Esau spew his madness. All right? It's just ridiculous. But, you know, without any further ado, let's
watch. You know, we begin to talk about how the new covenant was an upgrade of the old covenant, but the relationship of the covenant didn't change between the parties.
Never changed.
The parties was the nation of Israel to the Most High. All right. Now, the medium of maintaining that covenant through sacrifice in the Old Testament was through animal sacrifice, and blood had to be spilt. And in the New Testament is the mediation. You know, blood had to be spilled in the old covenant between the high priests. They had to do the sacrifice for the nation of Israel, right? Now our high priest is Yahweh Shai.
Right, Yahweh Shai became that blood sacrifice, which eliminated only that one thing from the law, the spilling of the blood of an animal, because Yahweh Shai became that blood sacrifice. So that part, that's the only thing that was done away with. All right, this is 1 Timothy 2:5, and it reads, "For there is one power and one mediator between power and men, the man Hamashiach Yahweh Shai." That was it. All right.
Who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. And
Perfect
he was
time.
that sacrifice that perpetually allows those who are given grace to have access again to the promises that were made.
Wait, who's those who were given grace for access to the promises? It's Romans 9 and verse 1. I'm going to start at 3. "For I wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach." This is Romans 9:3. "For I wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants, new and old, and the giving of the law and the service of power and the promises. Verse 5, whose are the fathers, and of whom as concerning the flesh Hamashiach came. Okay? Those are the facts that are given. The cognitive dissonance is when someone tries to renegotiate the truth of those facts and disagree with them because well, let's let it play a little more.
To the nation of Israel, okay? Now, this Christian has extreme cognitive dissonance. Now, when you read the definition, I'm just on Wikipedia, it says cognitive dissonance. It says, in the field of psychology, cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort, psychological stress experienced by a person who holds two or more contradictory beliefs, ideas, or values. This discomfort is triggered by a situation in which a person's belief clashes with new evidence perceived by the person.
And that's the new song. All right? When the new evidence of what the scripture, because Christians will go their whole Christian career, life, and when that Romans comes out, in scriptures like that, and when you read Hebrews the 8th chapter, let's grab that real quick. Right here, when you go to Hebrews 8 and 8, the 8th chapter, I'm going to start at verse 8, yeah, and it says, finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, which is the northern and the southern kingdom. All right, which the Israelites, the street teach that. Well, at least the men of Great Millstone and a few others that have it right. Right? Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith Yahweh. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh, and I will put my laws into their minds and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a power, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor. Wait, I've done extensive lessons on how your neighbor is another Israelite. All right? Your neighbor is not the guy next door. Your neighbor is another Israelite. As a matter of fact, I highly suggest that you go and look on the channel to see those scriptures that solidify that. As a matter of fact, let me just give you a couple since we're here, just to prove the point, to make it solid. This is Deuteronomy 15 and 12, and it reads, and if thy brother, an Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman, all right, be sold unto thee. See, Israelites had other Israelites as slaves, but it was as not chartered slavery, but indigenous servants, meaning you put yourself into slavery to pay a debt. All right, if I owed you something I couldn't pay you, then I became your servant until the debt was paid off. All right, so it says, and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. So your neighbor, all right, your brother, your neighbor, is another Hebrew, man. All right, let's solidify that a little bit more. For anyone who may want to say something differently, this is Exodus 20 and 16. And it reads, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. All right? The laws were given to the Israelites and only the Israelites. Only you have I known of all the people. All right? Only you have I known. I believe that's Amos. Okay? The 3rd chapter. Matter of fact, we might get that before this is over. Okay? Another scripture proving that your neighbor is another Israelite, your brother, your sister. Okay? This is, and this one really solidifies it. Is 1 Samuel 15, the 28th chapter, referring to King David and King Saul. All right, so let's find our way to Samuel, 1 Samuel 15 and 28. And it reads, and Samuel said unto him, Yahweh have rent the kingdom of Israel from thee this day, and have given it to a neighbor of thine that is better than thou. Who was that neighbor that the Lord gave the kingdom to when he took it from Samuel? He gave it to, Samuel was a Benjamite. He gave it to David, who was a Judite, who became King David. All right? Because he's in that royal line. So this has everything to do, I said everything, like the Benjamites. So yeah, everything to do with the Israelites, man. You other people have nothing to do with it, and you have cognitive dissonance when these facts and these scriptures come out. When the facts conflict with your belief. Right? It's really as simple as that. So now let's click to a video and just watch the madness that Esau, the confusion that he brings trying to break down the same thing that the elder, matter of fact, let me go back to the beginning of this when the elder breaks down, when he reads the definition, and you can pause it and read it for yourself, and then listening to the madness that this Edomite spews.
Extreme cognitive dissonance. Now, when you read the definition, I'm just on Wikipedia. It says cognitive dissonance. It says in the field of psychology, cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort, psychological stress experienced by a person who holds two or more contradictory beliefs, ideas, or values. This discomfort is triggered by a situation in which a person's belief clashes with new evidence perceived by the person. When confronted with facts that contradict beliefs, ideals, and values, people will try to find a way to resolve the contradiction to reduce their discomfort. All right. So now we're in this situation.
So, and that was a 1957 definition. I have the 1929 that's even older, Winston Simplified Dictionary with biblical references behind me. And when you read, and it's in cognitive dissonance, the word wasn't put together, but when you read both definitions of both words, it pretty much says the same thing that the elder just read on Wikipedia. All right. So now let's see what the new speak is being spewed now among these Edomites. Damn commercial. It's gonna play. Son of a gun.
Romance isn't dead.
But it is here.
Thanks.
Damn.
Chances are good that you've heard of something called cognitive dissonance. It's a term that's starting to get thrown around a lot these days. But you might not know that it has a really deep root in classic social psychology. In 1957, Leon Festinger wrote a book on the theory of cognitive dissonance and outlined a really detailed understanding of what cognitive dissonance is and how people deal with it. Let's start out by talking about what cognitive dissonance is. How would we define it? At the very basics, cognitive dissonance is about inconsistency. When we hold two thoughts that are inconsistent with one another, basically, that's dissonance. So let's take the example of someone who smokes cigarettes. Here's a person who might have two distinct thoughts, one of which is, I regularly smoke cigarettes. The other of which is the knowledge that smoking cigarettes is unhealthy. Here are two thoughts that a person can be having at the same time, acknowledging both of these things as fact, but they would seem inconsistent with one another. If you know that smoking is bad, then logically you probably wouldn't be engaging in that activity yourself. And so this is a case of dissonance because there's inconsistency in your own thoughts. So what do people do when they experience cognitive dissonance?
Which had nothing to do with the original definition. It simply said when evidence is presented, all right, that's contrary to what you believed. So they're really confusing this, and it gets worse.
Well, there are a few ways in which Festinger said that you could resolve the inconsistency.
So now you can't unchange a fact, man. You cannot make up not up. You cannot make down not down. You cannot make right not right, or left not left.
As a way of resolving the dissonance. First, you can change one of those thoughts. So in the case of the smoker who...
So, hey, look. How you gonna changing a thought does not change a fact. 1 and 1 is always gonna be 2, no matter how many equations that Esau puts up on an internet that shows that it means 3. Okay, there's a whole equation that was brought to my knowledge to prove that 1 and 1 can't equal 3, and that 4 and 4 can't equal 5. This is where we are dealing with this Edomite, man. Look, this is Job 14 and 4. We're gonna close with this. But ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Nabashai Bahashem Wakar Kwadash Wa Abad Babal.